Perfect. So thank you to everyone that joined for a webinar Wednesday. We are so grateful for our sponsors that allow us to host webinar Wednesdays. And we're extremely grateful for the four ladies that are going to share a little bit with you today. So we have Cheryl Perkins from Beckett. We have Amber from Tevis. We have Shawn from Tevis, and then we have Nicole from Clyde Walton. So these ladies will do a nice introduction of themselves, and then they'll present a little bit, and then we'll open it up for question and answer. So hopefully this is a very interactive session. And I will now turn it over to Cheryl Perkins from Beckett.
Thanks so much, Dina. It's really great to be here today and be able to be part of this webinar. I tell you, the topic, what drives employee retention, was very interesting. I guess I should start first with who I am. I'm Cheryl Perkins. I'm the Director of Global Supply Chain here at Beckett. I've been here 9.5 years. I've been in global supply chain for about 25. So a lot of time in this space. Now to our topic, what drives employee retention? When Dina first raised the topic, I could very quickly tell her, and I'll share with you, some of the great things that Beckett does in order to help retain people, things that we do for creature comforts, etc. But as I did a little more research on it, because I'm that kind of individual, it was very interesting to me that a comment that I had long believed apparently is debunked a little bit. So a comment I had long believed was people don't quit companies, they quit managers. But in researching it, and that was the number one reason that people left, but in researching, I see that that's not necessarily the case. It is a reason, but it tends to be number two. Number one tends to be development opportunities and lack thereof. And so 52% of the people that were polled in a poll that a company called Culture Amp did, Didier Elzinga, who's the co-founder and CEO of Culture Amp, they did research with 178 companies. And it was incredibly interesting what they discovered in that process. So people do leave managers, bad managers instead of bad companies, but that's reason number two. Reason number one is lack of development opportunities. I just found that incredibly interesting and contemplated that a lot as I think about what happens with the folks around me and myself. And I thought the delineation, as we think about something like that, is important too, because are we talking about folks who are in an office environment, who have different opportunities and jobs than folks who might be on a production floor? Because we're a manufacturer here. We employ about 160 people, and there's about 65 people on our production floor and about 100, in here. So the opportunities are different depending on what your job is and what your opportunities then look like. I think we'll come back to a little bit more of this as we go through the other panelists, and there are questions that come up. So I don't want to spew a bunch of statistics, just starting with that one only, which is development opportunities. I thought that was incredibly interesting. I do want to talk about quickly a few things that Beckett does for creature comforts that I think are incredibly important. And we get a lot of people here within the company that talk about them, and visitors who talk about them too. We have a big atrium where we are. It's got a glass ceiling, and we have live plants. And we call it the atrium because it's just full of live plants, trees, and everything. And it's a very stunning visual, but it's also really great. It's a great feel emotionally. We've got chairs and tables set up down in that atrium level as well, and cubes set up all around it too. So it's a wonderful place to work, a wonderful place to take meetings. And we use it a lot as people within this company. Something else, coffee. We now have machines here that have fresh coffee beans, so you can get fresh ground coffee. Is that going to keep somebody or make them leave? I don't think it's going to make or break somebody's decision, but is it a really nice creature comfort when you can come in and you've got your really nice Yeti mug and you can walk over and have fresh brewed coffee every morning? It's a great perk. We also care a lot about our employees, and we do fresh purified water machines. everywhere. So people feel very comfortable that the water that they're drinking, and we have big health incentives that really push water as well. So people feel comfortable that the water that they're being provided is purified, and they know that it's not full of chemicals or things that they don't want to put in their body. I can remember at times in my career literally buying water by the jug and carrying it into my workplace every couple of days to make sure that I was drinking the kind of water that I actually wanted. So it's a pretty big deal. We also have a workout facility here on premise, and it's very inexpensive to be a part of that. As an employee, you get to take advantage of that, and your family members, so your partner or your children, can also be a part of that fitness center, and it's very inexpensive. You can't even touch it any place else that you would go, because Beckett is big on health and wellness and fitness. We With that, we get the opportunity to help drive our own insurance costs as well. So what we pay per year from the matter of health insurance, we get the opportunity to get the best incentive, bronze, silver, or gold, based on meeting certain health objectives. What I like about how Beckett manages that is they don't strong arm people. I have worked at places that were very intrusive with their health goals. Beckett is not like that. They give you the opportunity and they say, here, these are the things that you can accomplish if you so choose. And if you do, you can save $1,400 a year, or you can save $700 a year, or you can save $300 a year. It's up to you, sir or ma'am, what you choose to do. We have a motto. It's actually printed outside on a stone that a customer gave to us, and we operate by that, and that is integrity, excellence, and profound respect for the individual. And one of the things I love about that is that we really do operate that way. And I get the opportunity when we onboard new employees, whether they're working for me or someplace else within the company, I get the opportunity to sit with them. And one of the opportunities that I get with them is to share that is who we are. It doesn't make us perfect. It doesn't mean that we're the most perfect company in the world, but we do strive to operate with profound integrity and excellence and respect for the individual. And those comments resonate. And I cannot tell you the number of times that people have later come back. You talk to a new employee after 2 months or 6 months, and they go, I really see the difference in this company. And so those are a few things. I will pass the baton off to Nicole at this point, and then we'll be open for Q&A a little bit later.
Thanks, Cheryl. I'm Nicole Glase. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing at Clyde Walton Inc., which is a fourth-generation family-owned liquid fuel and HVAC business in Lansdale, Pennsylvania. I have been with the company since 2016. And I like to believe that Walton's philosophy of employee culture is very simple. We try to treat our employees like family. We very much so understand that life happens, and we try to be flexible with things like doctor's appointments, school functions, sporting events. We really do try to have that work-life balance as much as possible. I think that really helps make employees feel like, we want them to be here, and we appreciate everything that they're doing outside of the office as well. I personally believe that when it comes to retaining employees, it's a mixture of both small things and grand gestures as well. So, like I said, I started working here 8 years ago. And at the time, the company was coming out of its third generation, going into its fourth generation. And the mother had been the major player in the company's culture. She had planned events and, was mainly the one that was doing things for the employees. So when she retired, it became apparent that there was, some gaps that needed to be filled. So we decided to create a committee that would help to plan events and outreach in our community. So I chaired the committee and gathered a bunch of volunteers from different departments within the organization. And we formed a group that meets monthly to organize events within the organization. As many of you know, HVAC technicians and installers are hard to come by. It's a very competitive market, and it's important to focus on employee satisfaction and retention, especially for those individuals. We try to focus on events to bridge the gap between our office and field employees. And we really do try to get our field workers engaged to participate in these events. One of our most successful events is something that we do twice a year. It's our technician breakfast, which is when our office employees make and serve breakfast to our technicians and drivers as they start their day. It's a small way for us in the office to be able to thank them for the work that they do, because they do the grunt work. And we, see that, and we do appreciate that. And it's just a nice time that we can all get together and show them our gratitude. In addition, we plan events such as food trucks, ice cream socials. We do external events like mini golf, holiday potlucks, things of that nature. We also are responsible for planning community outreach and volunteering projects, such as food drives and parades. So we try to get our employees involved in the community. And we also like to support things that our employees are involved in. So a lot of the sponsorships and things that we do are directly related to sports activities that our employees' children are involved in. Again, relating it back to our employees and showing them that we care about the things that they're doing as well. Like I mentioned, I think that it's a mixture of small and big gestures. So some of the other small things that we do, we focus on acknowledging birthdays and company anniversaries. We focus on checking in with our team regularly, making sure that they have the apparel and the tools that they need to get the job done. We make sure to stock coolers at the office with water and Gatorade in the hot summer months. Again, just to show our appreciation. We know that they've been in hot attics, and we want to make sure that, they have something refreshing when they're done with the day. And we want our employees to genuinely be successful. We focus on offering technical trainings, professional development courses, and we also have taken advantage of what is presented to us. So utilizing things like perks and bonuses from different vendors and giving those back to our employees. We use credit card rewards, manufacturer co-ops, and health insurance kickbacks to buy merchandise and gifts for our employees that we can then, give them throughout the year. And we also offer tuition reimbursement, which is a really nice way to help, with the cost of going to school and furthering your education. And then, big gestures too. I know that not all companies are able to sometimes, make those grand gestures, but I do think that they also go a long way. Personally speaking, I was able to pioneer an infant at work program when my daughter was born. So after my maternity leave, my company approached me, and they offered to have my daughter come to work with me for the first 6 months of her life. And that not only showed me how much my company valued family, but also, the time that I could have with my daughter. And it showed their investment in me continuing with the company as well. They wanted to make sure that I wouldn't leave to, become a stay-at-home mom or go elsewhere, in search of daycare, things of that nature. So that was really important to me. And I'm happy to say that 3 additional employees were also a part of that program since then. But I feel like the main thing to focus on is that employee retention, it takes time. It's a slow process. It can become frustrating because you don't always get the buy-in that you want from the start. But I feel like if you stay the course and you're committed to these things and to making progress, that over time you will start to see that. And we have certainly seen that over the years since that committee was started. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Shawn and Amber from Tevis Energy.
Thank you, Nicole.
And Shawn, just before, we had a
Yeah.
request from the audience that can the speakers let us know how big their company is, just as they're sharing feedback. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Nicole. I was busy taking notes, so a lot of great things already shared. My name is Shawn Franklin. I've been with Tevis Energy for 31 years in a number of roles. Currently, I'm the Director of Customer Care out of their Westminster office. We have currently 247 employees working here. So at a seminar years ago, the presenter asked us a question. He asked us, how do you lose customers, right? And after a few responses, he offered the answer, you lose them one at a time. And that has stuck with me. So my whole philosophy around us building a strong, positive employee culture is pretty much the same. You do it one employee at a time, right? It starts with relationship building. You make them feel valued, seen, heard. A lot of the things that both Cheryl and Nicole were mentioning. It's not typically something that happens quickly. So it takes time, and a leader's being very intentional about what they're doing, sincere, authentic in those interactions. I mention leaders because it does really have to start and be exemplified by your leaders. We really expect ourselves and our employees to be adopting this positive culture, they've got to see it, right? And in every facet of your business life. I feel like it's one of the best investments that we as leaders can be making. Amber?
So my name is Amber Luzi. I have been with Tevis for 16 years, starting out at our front desk, and now I am the customer service manager. So I've moved throughout the company as well as I've been here. My philosophy of employee culture really has a lot to do with our company pillars. Our company pillars are quality, integrity, and response. I like to prioritize my employees' well-being and growth, both professionally and personally, by spending quality individual time with everyone, even if it's 10 minutes. We try to have monthly one-on-ones with them where it's dedicated about whatever it is that they want to talk about. And we do talk about work stuff in there as well. But every week I try to make sure I get at least 5 or 10 minutes with every single one of my employees, so that they know that we can have open communication at any time. They can feel like they can come in and talk to me. We have been going through a lot of changes over the last 2 years, and it shows integrity by being honest. And so I have been saying a whole lot. I don't have all the answers. I don't know what's going on right now. I am giving you information as I am getting information because of how all of our pieces are moving right now. And I feel like that has really just helped me with my team, with the integrity of the group and in just in general. And then the most important thing to me is my employee empowerment. I want all of my girls, since I run the customer care team, I want them all to feel empowered with a slew of options and solutions to be responsive to our customers, um, both internal and external. So that way they can be as responsive to them as possible and as quickly as possible. And they feel like they don't have to go anywhere else to get those answers. Some of the unique things that we do internally to keep all of them is we have, if there is the Customer Service Appreciation Day nationwide. Sometimes we celebrate it one day. This week we celebrated it all week long. So we did an Appreciate You thing every single day. Sometimes they're themed, sometimes they're food related. We have done team bonding events. I have 5 different offices that are spread out. Shawn, what would you say, like 200 to 300 miles
Yeah.
around,
Mhm.
all with CSRs. So we try to find a middle location for all of them. We've done board and brushes, we've done escape rooms, paint night, axe throwing really seemed to be the big one that everybody loved. We did that at the end of a season. It was very nice. We've done happy hours, and it's really nice because everybody has a voice and a name, but it's nice to put a face to it and not have to talk about work.
Yeah. And then in addition, I think as maybe Nicole mentioned, we do also acknowledge team members' birthdays within each of the teams. And then the management team still snail mails birthday cards to every employee. And you would be surprised at the reactions that we still get when they get that piece of mail at their home. I wanted to highlight work anniversaries though here at Tevis. I feel like we're slightly, we have kind of a cool little program. They're acknowledged every month as well. But when you hit milestone anniversaries, they're marked by our owner taking the employee to lunch. And we are spread out, as Amber mentioned, and we have 247 employees. Not all of them hit their milestones in any given year, but that's an undertaking for him. And now his daughter Tori is taking over for them to plan that and travel, and employees truly find that face-to-face time with the owner unique and very valuable. So we have found great success doing that.
Yep, Shawn and I also make our like kind of like Nicole said, we make our team breakfasts, we make them lunches, desserts, just randomly. If they've had a really hard day the day before, we'll just come in and surprise them with things. Last year, we went through a complete system upgrade, which seemed to give everybody some gray hair. So the week of Thanksgiving, we did a week of thanks. We just did something every single day the week of Thanksgiving before they got in on their desk, just to show how thankful and how much we appreciated them. And then one of the fun things we did to get the whole company involved last year is we did a company-wide department decorating contest. You want to see how competitive your employees are? Try one of those.
And I know we're probably running short on time. So Cheryl referenced it when she spoke, but part of our initiative to make employees feel valued is our commitment to their development, and that is both professional and personal. One of the cool things we did last year is our managers identified who we thought were emerging leaders. Maybe these were employees who weren't quite in a leadership position, but we saw the potential and they had the drive. And a program was developed for these emerging leaders that they went through a series. We brought in an outside resource and walked these emerging leaders through this, this seminar. And for existing leaders like Amber and I, there's continuously opportunities for leadership development and professional development here at Tevis.
Yep. And like Nicole, I feel like our companies are very similar. I think because they're family owned. We do supporting company events given to us by employees also. We want to be involved, like you said, with what employees are interested outside of work. They have sponsored my son's baseball team. We have trudged around in a local parade. We've done food drives for families in need. We've done, Christmases for people. So whatever, we just want to take whatever our employees are involved in, we take those suggestions and we want to be involved in them again to show that we really care about the employees and what they care about.
And we had more to say, but I'm going to cut it off there because I know we want some time for some questions and answers. So thank you for having both Amber and I on today.
Awesome. Everyone's feedback. I can't believe all the great things and all the creativity that goes in. So hopefully employees do recognize that there's a lot of effort, time, and money spent in the investment in people. So we'll open it up for some question and answers. And then Cheryl, I know you had some statistics that you wanted to share. So maybe while people are typing the questions, if you want to share some of those, because those are always powerful for me.
Thanks a lot, Dina. One thing that is a prime takeaway as I listen to each of the other panelists speak, we all seem to do the same kinds of things. We do just because lunches. In the hot days, we've got coolers in here with popsicles and drinks and things like that. I hear all of this. It resonates across all of the other panelists. And and we're a family-owned company as well, third generation family-owned company. So there seems to be a lot of commonality here as well. And there also tends to be this commonality among us that we value our people very much, and we recognize that the gold within our walls, and those are euphemistic, not specific, is our people, and how we take care of them matters. And I love the opportunity to hear that others are doing the same kinds of things, and people find it valuable. I know our people do, and I would believe yours do as well. So Dina, to the statistics that I was talking about initially, in the poll that the company Culture Amp did, they found that when they polled the companies that they did, they polled teams that were 8 people or more. And they did this across 175 different teams in different companies. So they had a really good sampling. And of that, from employee retention and what made people want to stay with the company, 52% said development opportunities was a real point that made them want to stay or go. I want to talk about leadership, which is the next thing that they talked about. And Dina, at any point when you've got questions coming in, feel free to interrupt me, and I will defer to you to, bring those questions up.
Awesome.
But employees talked about leadership. So within the company, they wanted to see effective leadership, and 28% of those said that was something that made them want to stay, was if they felt that the leadership was effective and cared about the people and had a goal and a plan for the company. So their development was important, but good leadership behind it. And they weren't just talking about their direct manager, they were really talking about top level management of the company. They wanted to feel like the company was doing something, going somewhere effectively. And their manager was third down the list. Managers only had about a 12% factor in whether or not somebody stayed. I found that interesting, but that manager number changed dramatically when the company leadership was effective and good. If their manager could have been wonderful, but if company leadership was not great, employee retention was lower. If company leadership was great, they could have had a poor manager, but about 60% retention rate. If leadership was great and their manager was great, 89% employee retention. I found these statistics to be very telling, and something that I really want to internalize and think about a lot when I think about what we do as a company and what I do as a manager of a team. So those were great statistics. Dina, something else I just wanted to share before we start taking more questions is I believe that in general, people don't like to be micromanaged. My personality, I don't like to be micromanaged. If I'm given a responsibility, if I'm given a task, etc., if I need help with that, I'm happy to reach out and say I need help, but otherwise I want to be able to accomplish it. And I think about that a lot through the teams that I manage. I want to enable people to not be micromanaged and to feel a sense of independence in what they're doing, the way that they're creating the data or doing the job, and what they're bringing forward. I think that makes people happy or unhappy. So that'll be my last point. Dina, I'll hand it back to you.
That was awesome. Very, very good statistics. It sounds like it's culture, leaders, managers, right? So we didn't have any questions, but truly grateful for you ladies sharing your ideas and what your companies do. And we did have a range of company size. So Simone had asked that question. I think it's a great question to ask because everyone's budgets are different, team size, different offices, remote workers, in-person workers. So we will post this on our site And then for the ladies that presented, would it be okay if someone had a specific question that they were able to reach out to you and ask a question, whether it's through me or Judy or through the member directory emails?
Yep. I
Yeah,
actually have a
absolutely.
question for the other panelists. Shawn knows this question as well, since there weren't any other ones. So because our team isn't physically, or my team isn't physically together, do you, either of you have that situation where your team members aren't physically together? And if you do, how do you make them all feel like they are part of the team when they aren't together? So we do these things for them, but sometimes they have to be on different days. And so they don't feel like they're always part of the team, even though we're doing the same things and we're including them and offering for them to come down and things like that. Do you have any suggestions for that?
So my company is 100% remote, Amber. So I'll share. I think Cheryl mentioned it. One of the things that truly makes me feel like I'm part of the team is when I'm trusted and empowered to do what I need to do and communicate in the ways that I need to do it. And then it looks like Shawn came off mute as well. So I never have the opportunity to jump in person with anybody. But, definitely it comes from culture, leadership, and managers. Same thing Cheryl said, whether you're in person or fully remote.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was just going to reiterate what Amber said. That has been our biggest challenge, honestly, as we're growing, is to make these team members feel the culture that we feel in our headquarters. And it's been a real challenge. So I would even take any comments from the participants if they want to type them in. We were really anxious to hear what others are doing successfully to really make your team, even though they're geographically apart, feel more together.
I would like to add something to that. My team is on site, most of us are, but I've got one person who sits in China, in Beijing, China. And so when we're not on daylight saving time, we're 12 hours apart. Right now, we're 13 hours apart. And so that makes it challenging on a regular basis. We work hard at making sure that we do lots of Teams meetings and calls among our teams. And I'm sure you guys are doing the same thing, Amber and Shawn, and those who also have people who work remote. But we do a lot of that in addition to the folks that are on site.
Okay, thank you.
And then Cheryl, since we just have another minute, we had a question. What was the company that conducted the survey that you shared?
Yes, the company is called Culture Amp, CULTUREAMP, Culture Amp. And they have this published out on, I found a YouTube video on it that was really good, and then a lot of statistics that went along with that. And the gentleman that I listened to was Didier Elzinga. He is the co-founder and CEO of Culture Amp. Doing an internet search, you would be able to find them.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
Excellent. Well, we are about 3 minutes over and we didn't have any questions, which I assume means everyone's thinking and writing notes. And again, this will be posted on YouTube. It'll also be posted to the Women in Energy website. And then the ladies that have presented and did a phenomenal job have offered to be available if anyone has any additional questions that are one-off. But thank you so much, Amber, Shawn, Nicole, and Cheryl, for your time and for such an amazing presentation. I feel like I'm ready to work at all of your companies and pull everything together.
Great.
Awesome.
Thanks for the
Thank you.
opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.